Just off the coast of Brazil lies a place so dangerous that stepping foot on it is illegal for almost everyone on Earth. From a distance, it looks peaceful. Dense green forests cover the hills, waves crash gently against rocky cliffs, and seabirds circle high above the ocean. But beneath that calm appearance hides one of the most terrifying ecosystems on the planet. The ground itself seems to move. Not because of earthquakes, and not because of shifting sand. It moves because thousands of venomous snakes live there. On this island, you are never more than a few feet away from one. Hidden beneath leaves, curled around tree branches, or resting silently between rocks, they are everywhere. This place is called Ilha da Queimada Grande, but the world knows it by a much more chilling name, Snake Island. And unlike most mysterious places on Earth, visiting this island isn't just dangerous. For the general public, it is completely illegal. Brazilian authorities ban visitors from stepping foot on Snake Island for a very specific reason. The island contains one of the highest concentrations of venomous snakes anywhere on Earth. This is not just a place where snakes exist. It is an island where snakes dominate almost the entire ecosystem. For most animals, survival here would be nearly impossible. Yet for one particular species, it became the perfect environment to evolve and thrive. Scientists estimate that somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 snakes live on this relatively small island, though some early estimates suggested even more. In certain areas, researchers believe there may be one snake for every few square meters of land. Imagine walking through a forest where almost every step you take brings you dangerously close to a venomous predator. That is the reality of Snake Island. But the true story behind this island isn't just about the number of snakes. The real mystery is how they ended up here in the first place. The snake responsible for the island's terrifying reputation is known as the golden lancehead viper. This rare species exists nowhere else on Earth. Unlike most animals that can be found across different regions or continents, the golden lancehead is completely isolated to this single island off the coast of Brazil. Its name comes from the golden color of its scales and the sharp lance-shaped pattern of its head. But what truly makes this snake remarkable is not just its appearance, it is its venom. The golden lancehead produces venom considered among the most powerful of any snake in South America. A single bite can destroy tissue, disrupt blood flow, and cause severe internal damage. In humans, untreated bites can be fatal. Yet despite its terrifying reputation, the venom of this snake also holds incredible scientific value. Researchers believe it contains compounds that could help treat heart disease and blood pressure disorders. In other words, the same venom that makes the island deadly might also hold the key to saving lives. But to truly understand Snake Island, you have to go back thousands of years into the past. Long before the island existed in its current form, the land was actually connected to the Brazilian mainland. During the last ice age, sea levels were much lower than they are today. Vast stretches of land that are now underwater were once dry ground connecting different regions. As the planet warmed and glaciers began melting, sea levels slowly rose. Over time, the land bridge connecting this area to the mainland disappeared beneath the ocean. What remained was a small, isolated island cut off from the rest of the world. When that separation happened, several species of snakes became trapped there. And with no predators to control their population, they began to evolve in ways that would completely change their behavior. The isolation of Snake Island created a very unusual ecological problem. Most snakes rely on small mammals, amphibians, or other reptiles for food. But on this island, those animals were extremely rare. Food sources were limited, and survival became difficult. For the snakes living there, adapting was the only option. Over many generations, the golden lancehead evolved a unique hunting strategy that very few snakes use. Instead of hunting on the ground, they became specialized bird hunters. Migrating birds often travel thousands of miles across the ocean during seasonal journeys. Many of these birds stop on small islands to rest and regain energy before continuing their flight. Unfortunately for them, Snake Island became one of those resting points. When birds land on the island, they unknowingly enter one of the most dangerous environments imaginable. Hidden among branches and leaves, Golden lanceheads lie in wait. The moment a bird lands nearby, the snake can strike with incredible speed. Unlike many snakes that spend most of their time on the ground, golden lanceheads frequently climb trees. From these elevated positions, they gain a strategic advantage over flying prey. A bird landing on a branch may not even realize a snake is nearby until it is too late. In a fraction of a second, the snake can strike, delivering venom that works incredibly fast. This rapid effect is not an accident of nature. It is the result of thousands of years of evolutionary pressure. Birds have the ability to fly away quickly. If a bird escapes after being bitten, the snake loses its only chance at a meal. Over time, natural selection favored snakes whose venom acted faster and more efficiently. Eventually, the golden lancehead developed venom powerful enough to immobilize prey almost immediately. This evolutionary arms race transformed the species into one of the most effective hunters in its environment. With few predators and little competition, the snake population slowly increased generation after generation. Over thousands of years, Snake Island transformed into an ecosystem unlike any other. Most ecosystems maintain balance through a complex network of predators and prey, but on Snake Island, that balance is heavily dominated by a single species. The golden lancehead sits at the top of the food chain. There are very few animals capable of threatening it, and its specialized hunting strategy allows it to survive in conditions that would challenge many other predators. The result is an island where snakes have effectively become the rulers of the landscape. It is one of the rare places on Earth where evolution unfolded in almost complete isolation, creating a biological environment that exists nowhere else on the planet. Human interaction with Snake Island has been extremely limited throughout history. In the early 1900s, the Brazilian government constructed a lighthouse on the island to warn ships about the dangerous rocky coastline surrounding it. At the time, the lighthouse required human operators to live there and maintain the equipment. For a period, lighthouse keepers and their families actually stayed on the island despite the risks. Eventually, however, technological advances allowed the lighthouse to be automated, removing the need for permanent residents. After that point, humans stopped living on Snake Island entirely. Local legends began to circulate about what life there must have been like. Local legends claim that one lighthouse keeper and his family died after snakes entered their home. Some versions of the story say the keeper tried to escape by running toward the shore, but the snakes were already everywhere, slithering through the grass, coiling along the rocks, even slipping through open windows. Historians still debate whether the story is true or simply folklore that grew over time. But one thing is certain, the legend helped turn Ilha da Queimada Grande into one of the most feared places in Brazil. That reputation didn't stop everyone. In fact, for a small group of criminals, it made the island even more valuable. These are the bio-pirates, illegal poachers who risk their lives sneaking onto the island to capture golden lancehead vipers. On the black market, a single snake can sell for anywhere between $10,000. Private collectors want them as exotic trophies, while some underground biotech buyers seek their venom for unregulated medical research. Brazilian law strictly forbids anyone from landing on the island without special federal permits, yet poachers still try. Some dodge security cameras, others bribe inspectors, all chasing the same prize. But every snake taken pushes the species closer to extinction. With only about 2,000 to 4,000 left in the wild, scientists warn that removing even a few dozen each year could permanently damage their fragile gene pool. Today, Snake Island remains one of the most restricted places in Brazil. Tourists are strictly banned from visiting. Landing on the island without government permission is illegal. The only people allowed to step foot there are small groups of scientists who receive special authorization. These researchers visit the island carefully and only for limited periods of time. Their goal is not to explore danger but to study one of the rarest snake species on Earth. The golden lancehead is considered critically endangered because it exists nowhere else. If anything were to happen to the population on this island, the species could disappear forever. Protecting the island helps ensure that the snakes can survive while scientists continue studying their unique biology. Researchers studying the golden lancehead collect extremely small samples of its venom under controlled conditions. These samples are then analyzed in laboratories to understand how the venom works at a molecular level. Some compounds in the venom affect blood pressure and blood clotting in very specific ways. Scientists believe these properties could eventually lead to new medical treatments for heart disease and other cardiovascular conditions. In a strange twist of nature, one of the most dangerous creatures on Earth may also help create life-saving medicines for millions of people. It is a powerful reminder that even the most feared animals can hold enormous scientific value. Snake Island therefore represents something truly unique. It is both incredibly dangerous and incredibly important. On one hand, it is an environment where thousands of venomous snakes dominate the landscape, making it one of the most hazardous islands on the planet. On the other hand, it is a protected natural laboratory where scientists can study evolution, venom chemistry, biodiversity in ways that would be impossible anywhere else. The island is a living example of how isolation can shape life in extraordinary ways. Even today, approaching Snake Island is heavily restricted. Boats rarely come close to its rocky shores, and helicopters carrying scientists land only under carefully planned conditions. The risks are simply too high for casual visitors. Thousands of venomous snakes inhabit the forests, the rocks, and the trees. An isolated ecosystem has evolved there, over thousands of years, largely untouched by human activity. Nature has taken complete control of the island, creating a place that feels almost prehistoric. It is a reminder that despite all of humanity's technological progress, there are still corners of the planet where the natural world remains dominant. And that leads to one final question. If you were given the opportunity to step onto Snake Island for just a few minutes, knowing that thousands of venomous snakes were hiding all around you, would you do it? Would curiosity overcome fear? Or would you choose to stay far away from one of the most dangerous islands on Earth? The answer might reveal just how much risk you are willing to take when nature shows its most extreme side.